Alright, I've got a couple articles here. This first one's from Screen Rant. All 5 South Park episodes missing from HBO Max and why. Spoiler alert, it's basically to do with Islam, because they portray the Prophet Muhammad a couple times. And it's looked down upon, basically. If you don't, I mean, I'm not really super religious or whatever myself. I don't know if you guys are, if you know about Islam and so on and so forth. But that's a problem, essentially. The first one I talk about, Super Best Friends, so from season 5, episode 3, has to do with, I mean, I won't bother telling you much about the episodes because either don't care or you do. And if you do, then you already know. Anyway, the episode is absent because it depicts the Muhammad. While nothing in the Quran explicitly states that the prophet can't be put into an image, supplemental hadith text ban drawing his image. Therefore, most Muslims simply stay away from depicting prophets. Those Super Best Friends got away with it in the early 2000s. The episode has been retroactively pulled from streaming. We talk about Cartoon Wars Part 1 and 2. Now, again, they'll be showing the Prophet Muhammad in the series. Technically, it sees the town in a panic after Family Guy announces they'll be showing the Prophet Muhammad in the series. Cartman decides that Arian Muhammad as a character is offensive to Muslims and goes on a journey to Hollywood to stop them, continuing in South Park's long-running feud with Family Guy. Kyle follows him there and attempts to urge the head of Fox to air the Family Guy episode in an exercise of free speech. It's inspired by the Jalad's posted Muhammad cartoons controversy in which a Danish newspaper published cartoons featuring Muhammad in 2005, sparking protests across the globe and even violence and riots in places like Benghazi. The episode, which aired in 2006, was initially set to be the first episode of the season. However, South Park creators got into a feud with Comedy Central over depicting Muhammad, so they pushed the episode back. While one of South Park's many controversial episodes was in production, they still hadn't approved major portions of the show. Therefore, upon its release, they aired the episode with a black title card over the Muhammad sequence. The episode was subsequently pulled from streaming upon the show transferring to HBO Max. It talks about year 200 and 201. Like the other 3 episodes, they were heavily censored. They basically mock and lampoon a whole bunch of celebrities. It's like, yet another depiction of the Prophet Muhammad. That's why it gets banned and pulled and yanked from streaming, where you can watch the missing South Park episodes. They're also absent from the South Park Studios website. There's no way to watch these 5 banned episodes. I'm against censorship. I think it's ridiculous that people want to go crazy. Now, I can understand that on the one hand, they're like, well, if they're making fun, if they're doing this or doing that, it's a dicey thing. By and large, though, I am against censorship as a whole. I don't think that there's anything that should be just outright banned, because you've got a situation where, to me, the best way to deal with these kind of things, like some pedophile, like if a pedophile puts up a post or whatever something, there'll be people who want to ban that guy, who want to censor it and so on and such forth. I think the best way to address that, though, would actually be to address why it's so terrible, why that's such a horrible thing. Why is pedophilia wrong? Yeah, we all know why it's wrong. But you got to address it for people that don't know. You got young people, you got people who just purposely want to, be edgelords. They want to be, I'm a shit stirrer. I'm gonna stir the pot and all that stuff. The best way to deal with nonsense or just things that you disagree with, or things that you think are just morally wrong and stuff, is to address why you think they're wrong. Explain it. It's like when a parent tells a kid not to do something, and if they say, well, why not? Well, because I said so. Well, shit, that's like the worst thing you could do. You got to explain to them why it's a bad thing. Why is it a bad thing to do this? And here is what you should do instead, or something like that. It depends on what it is. But anyway, I'm against censorship by and large. I think it's wrong. So I think quite frankly, I think it's stupid that these episodes have been pulled all because they feature Muhammad. I think quite frankly, I think that's a dumb reason to censor it. To pull the episodes. I think I don't agree with it. I think it's dumb. Got an article here from Breitbart, whether or not you agree with Breitbart or whatever, but Hollywood lost more than $500 billion in market value in 2022. I'm not going to talk about this too much. I'll link these articles. I got them up on archive because I don't want to, give them clicks or whatever. But basically, they talk about the Dow Jones Media Titans Index, which tracks the performance of 30 of the world's biggest media companies, shed 40% this year, with its total market value declining from 1.35 trillion to 808 billion. According to a Financial Times report, the losses outpaced indices for other sectors, including banking, which saw a 14.5% drop for the year, and telecommunications fell by 11.2%. Hollywood's horrible year was the result of a 1-2 punch of a downturn in the streaming market, coupled with consumers continuing to cut the cord by the millions. And some of it also has to do with the fact that most of the movies are they're shit, or the TV shows, they're shit. It's like if you put a bunch of shit out, people aren't going to want to watch it. Anyway, here's a tweet from Breitbart. Leftists are having a very hard time accepting the smashing success of non-woke pro-America masculine Top Gun Maverick. Okay, I mean, it's a bit much, I guess, but whatever. It talks about how Disney stock is plummeted more than 40% this year, and they talk about the whole Bob Iger and all that stuff. Paramount Global stock dropped more than 40%. Warner Brothers Discovery is tumbled more than 60%. It's like, or Netflix's went down by 50%. It's like, holy shit. And they got another tweet from them and stuff. But Comcast, the parent of NBC and MSNBC, as well as Universal, is down more than 30% for the year. It's been the perfect storm of bad news. I've been covering the sector a long time, and I've never seen such a bad collection of data points before, said Michael Nathanson, media analyst at SVP Moffett Nathanson, told the Financial Times. It's not good for Hollywood. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say, well, hey, the walls are closing in and they're going to die and the industry's going to, collapse upon itself, or other such things that people might say. But it's not looking good. I mean, if shit's down this much, it's like, hey, you got to do something here. You guys got to start putting out movies that people want to see. Quit wasting money on all this kind of shit, all these shit movies that come out all the time. Quit giving these huge stars all this money to be doing stuff. Or you think about, like, with Amazon, reportedly they spent about $1 billion producing Rings of Power, getting the license, all that kind of stuff, and it just hasn't been good for them. Yet it seems like they're almost doubling down with season 2, at least from what the reports are. And it's like, what are you doing? Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up here. I've already gone 7.5 minutes. Like I said, I'll link both of these articles in the description box if you want to read them for yourself. Thank you very much for watching, and have a good one.